How's everybody doing tonight? You may not know me, but my name is Jonathan McCullough, and I'm here to introduce somebody who really needs no introduction, and that's Makenleigh Bledsoe. Her hard work and infectious personality go ahead of her, and everybody who knows her loves her, and that goes for me too, her pastor and her friend. That's who I am. I get the awesome privilege of being McKinley's pastor, and you have no idea how much I miss seeing her sit on that front row every Sunday with her parents, Amanda and Brad. A preacher needs feedback to do good preaching, and I always get that from her. She's either crying or laughing or raising her hands in worship. McKinley's not a passive worshiper. She's passionate about what she does, and for a preacher, that makes it a little easier for me to preach. I miss her. Honestly, I know preachers can't get pushy, but I'm about over her being away. I also understand, though, that you can't keep one grounded who is born to fly, and so I've come to terms with the fact that it may be just a little bit longer before I get to see her every Sunday. You know, Florida's national candidate and all. Just hurry up and get back to us. Can I be honest with y'all? I said y'all, we're at the FFA, right? All I want to do as a preacher is make impact. That's the whole drive of my life, and so I study and I pray and I counsel and I preach, but in my effort to make impact on McKinley, I've come to realize that she has made just as much impact on me. McKinley, you're going to do more than you could ever imagine, and you know why? Because he is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you could ask or think, and you let Jesus do the work. He always takes us farther than we go on our own.
Hi, I'm Presley, and growing up, I have always saw McKinley as my older sister. Between children's church with Miss Amanda, family trips, camping trips, and everything in between, she has always been such a great role model to look up to. She has always shined in everything she's done and accomplished. One thing about McKinley is that if she wants something, she works to achieve it. It has been so inspiring to see everything McKinley has done throughout our lifetime. McKinley, thank you for being the best role model to little me growing up and even to this day, except for your driving skills. If you know, you know. Always remember to keep our Lord and Savior first and your family second. Let everything you do be done through Christ. Always know that we are your biggest fans. I can't wait to see where God leads you through this next chapter of your life. As bad as we want you home, I hope I can see you in a national blue jacket in Indy. I love you so much.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Larkin Williams, and I was the 2023-2024 Wyoming FFA State President. Although this bears very little weight to all of you in the great state of Florida, it was one of the greatest privileges of my life because I got to meet Makenleigh Bledsoe. McKinley is the epitome of light. I got the privilege to not only meet her and serve with her this year, but I also got the privilege to watch her change not only my life, but the life of every person she interacted with. When I think of Mac, I think of her smile that lights up any room, her laughter that is truly the sound of joy, her attitude that lifts everyone around her up, her presence that drives away negativity, and her love for FFA, her dogs, Silo and Finn, her family, friends, and Jesus. Words cannot describe how thankful I am for the countless hours McKinley and I have spent together, whether that was on a bus in the middle of Australia, at conventions and conferences across the nation, or on FaceTime. It truly has been the honor of my life to know and love Makenleigh Bledsoe, and I'm so thankful that I get to share her with you, Florida FFA.
Hi, I'm Lana Rowell. I couldn't be prouder to introduce someone truly exceptional, a person whose journey I've had the honor of witnessing from the very beginning. Picture this, a third grade classroom, a little girl with the longest name I've ever written on a nameplate. From the moment she walked into my classroom, it was evident that McKinley possessed a personality that filled a room. You see, we began our adventure when Mac was only 8 years old and I was her third grade teacher. She was the kind of student who never met a stranger. Mac is like the little Google Maps man. You could literally pick her up and drop her anywhere on the map and she would instantly make a friend and be happy. McKinley has this remarkable ability to connect with people and spread joy wherever she goes. I later became her student government advisor and she my president. A natural giver and helper, she always put others before herself, displaying a maturity and a compassion beyond her age. Who else could turn a Celine Dion song into a country song? Calling all the monsters into an opera? Who else would dress up as Michael Jackson, wig, glove, and all, and dance to Billie Jean for an election? Only Mac. But beyond all of her achievements and talents, what truly touches my heart is the bond we formed over the years. From elementary student to SGA president to one of my own, McKinley has become not just a student, but a cherished member of my extended family. It's our honor to introduce
my homie,
my older sister,
And my best friend.
and my teacher's pet, and your Area 1 State Vice President, Makenleigh Bledsoe, as she delivers her retiring address, Just Sing Anyway.
If I'm only here to tell you one story, it's that God can work anything for good. The way that He writes it is glory to glory, page for page, no matter how it looks. If you need a highway through the sea, your mountain to be moved, He did it for me. He can do it for you. He's the God of endless miracles. Ain't nothing He can't do. He did it for me. He can do it for you. I know you've been asking, hoping and praying that somehow He can make the wrong things right. Heaven's been listening, something is changing. So let me be the first to testify. Yeah, if you need a highway through the sea.
If you were to ask my parents what 2-year-old McKinley was like, they would tell you about my insatiable curiosity and knack for mischief. In fact, I was so curious that I even stuck my face up to a truck muffler just to look inside. If you were to ask my parents about 3-year-old McKinley, they would tell you about my bottomless pit of a stomach. But let's be honest, not much has really changed since then. Food is still my love language. But let's turn the spotlight to 5-year-old McKinley. My parents would probably tell you about my early career as a songwriter and performer. Yep, you heard that right. I was belting out original tunes for my captive audience, aka my family. Here, check it out for yourself.
Excuse me, my light is the light is me. Whoa, whoa, to light on me. Whoa, whoa, stop right in front of me.
You see, I've always had this thing for music and a deep-seated love for singing. But let me tell you about this one story when I was 10. So picture little old me, decked out in a smock church dress, hairstyled in a side ponytail, of course, and sporting a bow the size of Texas. Somehow, I get roped into singing at a Sunday evening singing. Now, for those of you who don't know where I come from, a Sunday evening singing is where churches from throughout the community come together to sing hymns and worship songs. So, they asked me to sing a solo. And being the brave soul that I am, I reply, sure, yeah, I'd love to. But the minute those words leave my mouth, I'm feeling a wave of regret crashing over me. You see, at the time, I was used to singing in front of maybe 20 or so people at my little Baptist church in Brownsdale, Florida, so 10 times the amount was quite the adjustment. I remember going straight to my Pawpaw Jimmy's house and practically hyperventilating, explaining to him how scared and nervous I was. Pawpaw Jimmy looked down at me, and with a smile, he said, "Kenny Ann, you're fine, just sing anyways." So, what did I do that afternoon? 10-year-old McKinley chose to just sing anyways. Growing up, my Pawpaw Jimmy was without a doubt the person I looked up to the most when I was young. Not to mention, he spoiled me rotten. I was the only granddaughter, and I was the oldest, so the bond that we had was like no other. Pawpaw made sure that whenever I came over to his house on the weekends, that the pantry was full of my favorite snacks, gummies and cashews, of course, that the fridge had a 12-pack of grape soda, and that there was a brand new tub of Bluebell Dutch chocolate ice cream with my name all over it. And not once did he ever forget. He never did. If there was a football game I was cheering at, he was there and cheering me on. Birthday party? Of course, he wouldn't miss it for the world. Softball game? Oh, he was there and yelling louder than anyone else in the stands, whether he knew what he was talking about or not. And not once did he ever let me down. You know, my Pawpaw Jimmy had a lot of people he was close to, and he had a lot of friends, but I believe his greatest role was found as my Pawpaw. He was my biggest hero and the person I could go to for absolutely anything. However, as a 14-year-old girl, I did not recognize the extent of his mental health struggles. On February 16th of my 8th grade year, a call came in reporting him missing. Initially, we didn't really give it much thought, assuming he was at his hunting club or had even taken his Polaris out for a ride in the woods. But some time passes by, and we receive a second phone call. What we didn't know at the time was that this phone call would forever change our lives. The news was that they did find my Pawpaw Jimmy, but he was dead and had committed suicide. As the news sinks in, questions begin to fill my mind. Why would he do this? What am I going to do? What is my family going to do? What are people at school going to say? How am I ever going to get over this tragedy? As these questions begin to fill my mind, it leaves me feeling like I'm trapped in this, a raging storm that I called life. This was my normal for years. I was miserable. I became friends with people who were no good to me in hopes of finding joy, but I failed. I became a people pleaser, doing things to try and please others, but I failed at finding happiness. I failed so many times that I truly began to believe that I was a failure. I lived like this for years in the midst of a storm. A few years go by, and now it's my junior year. I come home from school after a long day and lay on the couch, and as I begin to scroll through my Pinterest feed, I come across a quote. Life's greatest challenges are hidden treasures. What? Life's greatest challenges are hidden treasures? How is this even possible? Because when I think of treasure, I think of gems, money, diamonds, and mansions, not grief and pain. Well, it had been 3 years since the passing of my pawpaw. My heart was still bitter and hurt. I opened up the camera roll on my phone to find pictures of my pawpaw because as time is passing on, I'm slowly forgetting what he looks like, and I truly miss him more than ever before. I opened up my camera roll to find a picture from 2005 of him beaming as he cradles me just after my birth in the hospital. And then there's the picture of him smiling so big, holding me in front of Disney's Magic Kingdom. And of course, the picture of him, my Nana, and me aboard a cruise ship when life was nothing but simple. Lost in this archive of cherished moments, I come across a video. Among similar of hundreds recordings, this one was different. It was from when I was 10, at a Sunday evening singing. Suddenly, my tears stopped, and they were replaced with a smile. It's as if my pawpaw's voice echoes in my mind, urging me, Kenny Ann, you're fine. Just sing anyways. That's when it hit me. That's when I realized that all I had to do was sing. Sing in the midst of my storm that had held me captive for far too long. Now you may be asking yourself, McKinley, what does that even mean? What does it even mean to sing in the midst of chaos and trial? Well, you see, in the Bible, there's a story of a man named Paul and his best friend Silas who were placed in prison despite their innocence. Before being placed in their prison cell, they faced mockery, beatings, and chains in a dark dungeon. However, they didn't let their circumstances dampen their spirits. No. Instead, they sang praises to God, honoring him and thanking Jesus for all he had done for them, even from the confines of a prison cell. Their joy wasn't dictated by their situation. Their praise was genuine, acknowledging that God will use storms for something better. When I found myself singing in the midst of my storm, something changed within me. It affirmed my belief in God's existence. I turned to him at my lowest point, and he comforted me. When I found myself in the middle of this storm and my heart was broken, he helped me out of the storm. Since then, I have been able to accept difficult answers, trusting that God will use my sufferings to transform me and help guide others towards him. I've realized that life's greatest challenges are hidden treasures because they serve as direct avenues to draw us closer to Jesus. About a year ago, my pastor, Brother John, said something in a sermon that really resonated with me. He said, we see life as a series of sunsets and sunrises. When the sun rises, we see it and we feel the warmth and we know it's there. But when the sun sets and we don't see it and don't feel the warmth, we get discouraged. What he meant by this is that it's easy to praise Jesus when we find ourselves in the sunrises where things are bright and positive, when we get the long-awaited promise or win the state contest or achieve one of our long-term goals. It's easy to be thankful then. But when we find ourselves in the sunsets, in the storms where things feel miserable, our minds become filled with untrue thoughts. Thoughts of, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be happy. My past is horrible. I'm not worthy of his grace or his love. It's a never-ending trap that the devil delights in putting us through. However, Jesus tells us otherwise. Jesus says, you are worthy. You do deserve to be happy. Your past, it doesn't matter. You are my child. But sadly, we believe the lies from Satan over the truth spoken by the very creator of this world. Though we can't avoid our storms and we can't control our storms, we can choose to just sing anyways. God's love for us is boundless. When we find ourselves in times of despair, it's easy to think that he's not there. But in those moments of despair, he cannot be more present. He is not distant, cold, or ignorant to what is going on in your life right now. In fact, his love for us is so profound that he even sent his perfect son to die on a cross for both you and for me. That is real love. Psalms 126:5 says, they that sow in tears shall reap in joy. What this means is that we can trust Jesus even with our tears. When we sow something, it means we give it away and wait for the harvest. As we sow our tears, even when it's costly, we can trust that God is going to use us for something good. That something good for me was my salvation in this blue jacket. Throughout my year, I have had the honor of meeting with FFA members across this great nation. While I have shared a lot of remarkable moments of joy, I've also heard the struggles that many of you face every single day. I've talked with FFA members who have lost family members or even friends to suicide, or FFA members who struggle from mental issues themselves. These conversations of heartfelt honesty have truly opened my eyes to the mental health struggles that our communities are facing today. Friends, we need to be there for our people. Show up and show some grace and help them sing through their storms. If you find yourself in the midst of a storm, know this: your life holds purpose. And if you will choose to wake up and sing through your storm, God will turn that pain into joy. I am blessed to have served alongside 6 of the most incredible people I have ever met in my entire life. People who helped me to sing through my storms. Kaylee, Jenna, Hunter, Spencer, and Mackenzie. My people who help me consistently sing through my storms. Find your people who help you sing and be that source of strength for someone else. There's no way to stop our storms, but we can always choose to just sing anyways. I mean, look around. We are some blessed people. This blue corduroy jacket is more than just that. It's a symbol of hope and a reason that we should choose to just sing anyways. The storm begins to fade when we begin to look through our brokenness to find something to sing about. I encourage you to live your life in the sunrises. Appreciate the blessings in your life and confide in Jesus' goodness. Florida FFA, it's time to let your praises roar and just sing anyways. I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm. Louder and louder, you're gonna hear my praises roar. Up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated, the King is alive. I raise a hallelujah.
McKinley, I can still recall your unwavering support towards everyone you came in contact with at screening last year, and it's safe to say that nothing has changed since. You never cease to lighten the situation, no matter the circumstances. Your authenticity and kind heart makes you the kind of person that each of us can consult whenever we need to talk to someone. I think I can speak for everyone when I say that we cannot imagine our team without you. You will always be our queen bee. It is said that a sweet friendship refreshes the soul. While we started as 7, now we end as 1. Some might call this chapter our end, but let today mark where a lifetime of friendship begins. Love Mackenzie, Emma, Spencer, Kaylee, Jenna, and Hunter. Florida FFA, your Area 1 State Vice President, Miss Makenleigh Bledsoe.
The King is alive. Sing a little louder in the presence of my enemies. Sing a little louder, louder than the unbelief. Sing a little louder. My weapon is a melody. Sing a little louder. Thanks for the ride, for watching over me. Remember the time I rode my truck and you were there when I woke up. You walked me home, yeah, you led me home.